Hey, Jordanus here, and this is a Dominions 5 game. Actually, my first solo multiplayer game. It's a big one. As you can see, these are people declaring their profits. Sometimes I get some funny names in here. I personally didn't bother. I'm going to be playing as Ulm. So I'll link to a guide for Ulm in the video description. I'm not really going to be giving like a general overview of the nation beforehand. I've gone with a pretty basic build. This is my god. It's going to be really useful for expansion, and then less useful as the game goes on. This particular game is a little tighter than normal. It's a big game, so every early age nation is in it. So we got everybody in here. But there's fewer provinces per player than normal. I think it's 10 per player, and then 15 for the thrones. So yeah, my start position is actually pretty good. The map, I believe, has been edited to give more caves than normal, and to make sure nobody gets absolutely screwed. Sometimes the random map generator can give you not great spots to start with. But my capital has a lot of connections, really no complaints. Ulm can take advantage of forests as well as mountains, or I think there's some highlands around here as well. Yeah, highlands. There's both. So that's great. There's a ton of that around, so that's going to be really useful. This river is kind of a hassle. There's a crossing over here. And that's it. And so two of the provinces in the cap circle, which is really important early on to try to clear that out from independence, so you can recruit more units, because you're going to be limited by resources. So two of these provinces in the cap circle I can't really get to right away, because my guys can't cross rivers. That said, do have strong cold dominion, so once we start to get heavier dominion, and then also during winter, this river should freeze, which will make it a lot easier to cross over. So yeah, went ahead and prophetized your starting commander. This is the starting army for Ulm. It's pretty good. I went ahead and recruited a bunch of archers to add into it, which maybe wasn't the best move. They're actually decent fighters, not great, but better than most archers. Just the Ulmish troops in general are pretty solid. Yeah, maybe next time I might have gone for adding. These are probably like Ulm's best units right here. It's hard to get a lot of them early on, so yeah, the archers can be useful against militias, lightly armored stuff, but significantly less useful against say anything that's got armor. Not going to be super useful, but that's what I went with. Also, our god is really good at expansion, at killing these independents, so we'll also be able to use that to expand. So yeah, not too worried. So yeah, this is technically the second turn. Yeah, because usually on turn one nothing really interesting happens, because you don't actually have information about these independents. So unless you just want to blindly expand, it's like a completely blank map, other than your capital, so you can just take a random stab and hope that, it's relatively safe with a god like this, but yeah, I wanted to play it cautious, this being my first game. It's like, if I were to lose my Pretender on turn one, it's probably game over. I didn't really want to lose on the first turn, so I just went ahead and played it safe. Alright, so we went for enchantment first. There's some useful buffs for Ulm. I think Strength of Giants is an enchantment. But also For our god, for the expander, you really want to get personal regeneration as quickly as possible. So that's something that this god can cast, and it's just really useful in keeping him alive. So we went ahead and double expanded 2 battles. Let's see how they went. So yeah, archers in front. And what are we up against? Yeah, just garbage. Nothing really to worry about here. These militia are pretty awful. And then these archers, not much better. These heavy infantry are okay, but there's only 2 of them. So yeah, this should be pretty easy. Our prophet probably out of range, because we got the earth smite, which is pretty short range. It's pretty good, but yeah. So he's just casting sermon there. That's a smite. But before he's casting sermon of courage. Try to keep our guys in the field. So yeah, you can see it's kind of a slaughter, which is good. So let's see, yep. No losses. That's what you want to see. And this is our god. And not a whole lot to this yet. It is a spellcaster, but without any research, there isn't really much to cast yet. So I just kind of go in there, and it's size 6 and a trampler. So its whole thing is, I think I set it to attack rear, so it's headed for the commanders. If you can kill all the commanders, the rest of the units just automatically route. It's going after the slingers. So, but yeah, just with trample, it just slides over and can wipe out quite a few people in a square. It has really good armor. My bless is pretty basic. It's just a hard skin bless. So yeah, good for this. You're able to get the protection up pretty high, like even without any additional spells or anything cast on it. 27 is really good. You're going to be immune from a lot of normal attacks. These guys are only dealing 13 damage. That is Pierce, which I believe can cut through armor better. But yeah, not too much to worry about here. Yeah, there goes the last commander, and these guys are going to peace out. Yep. So yeah, that went really well as well. So that's cool. Oceania, a little late on pronouncing their prophet. They probably wanted to prophetize somebody specific rather than just like whatever rando guy is leading your first army. I just prophetized a rando guy. Doesn't really matter so much for Ulm. So yeah, I'm recruiting these warrior smiths, and mostly for resources. So yeah, and avoiding the antlered shamans for now, which are the cap only mages, because we don't have a ton of money and are going to want to build some forts and stuff. So yeah, now starting to recruit these steel maidens, which is probably like Ulm's best unit. They deal a lot of damage. They have 2 attacks, and so you can just pack them in. They're also stealthy, which is really nice. So yeah, and they have pretty good attack skill, pretty good defense skill. Their protection is not so great, so it's not terrible. And they're a human unit, a little better than average for health. But yeah, you tend to lose them, but they mow through guys really quick. That 2 attacks is huge. And then also these axe warriors are pretty good. They also get 2 attacks, a throwing axe. Pretty much anybody with 2 weapons, which is a lot of Ulm's lineup, can really chew through guys. These guys have less protection though, so you take even more attrition. And then also the axe is slashing only, so they're going to struggle a little more against armor versus these guys actually get pierced sometimes, which helps. These guys are cool, but no stealth. So yeah, that's one of the things that Ulm can do is you can get stealthy armies to surprise people. I don't really take too much of advantage of that in this game, but yeah, it is really useful. but not all the units have it, so that's kind of the downside of these guys. They have a little more protection, which is kind of, one of their advantages. So yeah, and then still researching enchantment. I think level 2 here we'll get, personal regeneration, which is going to be super useful for a god to take on maybe some tougher stuff and just be a little safer, a little more secure. And it is going to be useful research because definitely going to want to at least hit Strength of Giants, which is a really good buff for Ulm. So, setting us at level 2 is cool because we can get level 3 later. Then I'm going to Construction 2, I think probably for Alquil's. That's Conjuration. It doesn't actually tell you what items you get, but yeah, Alquil's help with research, which is really important. So that's, hopefully going to help. So yeah, turn 3. Alright, more profits going up. Possibly these guys are prophetizing, like, slow to recruit commanders, or maybe they did forget. I don't know. Not sure. Haven't played these factions. Got some more battles. Yep, the god just, doing its thing. These are pretty easy provinces that I'm targeting, which, yep. And then we bumped. So there was a battle here against Independence, and then so I got there first, which is somewhat random, I think. I don't actually know all the mechanics of, like, he chose to move into this province, I chose to move into this province. Why did I get there first? I don't know. That's a mystery, mostly. Like, I think things like your army's, like, move speed and size, and I don't know. People say a lot of things about what goes into it. I don't know exactly what governs it. Definitely there's at least some randomness. So anyway, we beat the Independents, no casualties, so, going pretty well. This is another really easy province. We outnumbered them badly, so, yeah, no shocker there. Let's go ahead and just watch. I don't want to ruin the suspense. So this is Macone. This is a really small expansion party from them. So they're sort of like Spartans. That's kind of like the, inspiration, roughly speaking, for this nation. But they're all giants, the actual, like, Spartan guys. And then these are just, helots. So they're slaves. They have really bad morale. They can get promoted, which is okay, I guess. There's pluses and minuses. But they have really low upkeep, these guys, which is cool, right? So they don't cost much. And they're actually, like, not bad troops. Like, I mean, they're okay, they're actually not that great. But, they're, other than morale, they're better than average by a little bit. So yeah, I think we should win this. I mean, this command, so these are the actual, like, Spartan hoplites, as it were. They're giants. They're not max size giants, only size 4. But still, they have really good equipment. They're like protection 21, so that's, like, way more than our guys. They deal a crap ton of damage because they're giants, so they have really high strength. They have magic weapons, so that doesn't really matter for our troops, but it can matter a lot, like, later on when protection spells and stuff come out. And that's one of the nice things. The Earth smites, this is our prophet, and prophets, all priests get access to, like, holy spells. He's a level 3 priest. All prophets are level 3 priests, and level 3 priests can smite, and our smite is the Earth smite, Word of Stone, and it has the chance of petrifying units. So this guy's been petrified. Let's turn to stone, which is great news. I think his prot actually goes up, his protection. Yeah, because he's stone. So he's going to be hard to kill like this, but he can't do anything. And then he has to pass a magic resistance check, an MR check, or die. Once the petrification, like, wears off. So our guys are throwing some axes. It looks like these guys are just guarding the commander. That's why they're just sort of, like, ring around the rosieing him. which is not a bad plan, like for expansion, because it's a really small group. Like it's pretty efficient. Assuming that you win. Like this guy, the actual commander, is going to be able to just mow through a lot of independents pretty easily. Like for instance, what was in this province, like he totally could have won this, like no problem, I would guess. Maybe lose like a couple of the bodyguards, but yeah, not a bad plan. Not going to work so well against our expansion party, although our archers probably aren't really. In fact, if anything, they're going to just kill our own guys. But yeah, you can see the almost troops pretty nasty, even though he's got 30 protection because he's stone. He's still getting hammered. And the archers not doing a whole lot. Archers in Dominions 5 are just generally like not fantastic. So yeah, but we get them. I don't even think we lose too much. Yeah, just 2 axe warriors, which is not too bad. Although unfortunately, like yeah, really probably shouldn't have recruited those archers. But yeah, so that's good news. And yeah, you can just see like the tightness of this map. So yeah, this is his capital right here, and this is our capital. So there's only 2 provinces between us. So yeah, like we'll see. And yeah, like this is his province really, right? Because this is in his cap circle. So like if I were to not give this up, it'd more or less be a declaration of war. I didn't know his capital was here, so I didn't really intend it as like an aggressive maneuver. But yeah, we'll see how he reacts. Most of the diplomacy is done out of game. You actually can send messages technically, but it's pretty slow. So people usually just use Discord. So yeah, won't actually like really cover the diplomacy in gory detail here. But yeah, so far so good for expansion. These provinces are really nice. Both of these. They're Amazons, so you can recruit independents from provinces that you take. So like here, and most of the time, and you recruit like whatever you fight. So we've been fighting just like regular Joe Schmo, like militia and archers and heavy infantry. So like that's what you can recruit in this province, and like these guys suck for the most part. Like it's pretty rare you don't want to recruit these. But these, they're actually, their commanders, some of them are casters. And oftentimes they have access to magic paths that you just don't have access to. So, like, Ulm actually has access to a lot of magic, but they don't have access to astral magic, which these independents can use, which is great. And then we do have access to water and nature, which are what these casters can use, but we don't have access to that particular cross path because they get water and nature, and we don't have any mages that combine that. And there are some useful spells that you can cast in water nature, so it'd be really nice to take this as well. Usually better rewards, tougher to take. There's not too many in this province, it looks like. So can probably take that, but with 40 of these here, that's a little dicey. The god could probably take it. I haven't used this a ton, so I'm just a little leery of going after this, especially because it's outside of our dominion. That's kind of what this border is indicating, right? And you see from the candles here, that's the strength of our dominion in that province, and your god's hit points are tied to the dominion strength. So we're getting a bonus from being in friendly dominion. If we move out of that, we lose that. I'm pretty sure this is neutral, so I think that it would go down to like 102, I think it was, because it would lose like the 10-point bonus. Yeah, so probably still would be fine, but yeah, just a little nervous about moving out of Dominion. especially because these scouting reports are not 100% accurate. So I think it's up to like 150% or 200%, and then down to like 50%, I believe. So, there could be like, possibly like, 80 units here if it's 200%. I can't remember offhand, but anyway, there could be significantly more in this province, or significantly less. And the reports fluctuate turn to turn, so you can, if you have a good memory, which I don't, or if you really write it down or take a look at a previous turn, you can compare the scouting reports and get a pretty good sense. Sometimes when they fluctuate pretty big, like you see something really low like this with 10, and you're like, all right, like there can't be too much there. It might be more than 10, but not too much. Or you see something really big like this, 110, and it's just like, that's a lot of barbarians, which sucks because that's our cap circle, and barbarians are nasty. So yeah, anyway, going decently. Won the bump. That's always good. I'm gonna move out of this province. Yeah, Macon is like not a terrible target for Ulm to attack early, but again, this is my first game. I'm not really looking to rush anybody. So yeah, I'm not, and I really have no idea like who's around, and I'm still trying to expand and get independent provinces, not really looking to get into like an immediate war. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this province up, assuming that he's willing to be peaceful about things. So yeah, that's turn 4. Alright, so yeah, went ahead and gave up that province. Didn't put any province defense there, as we agreed upon in Discord. And then we took another independent province. We actually combined our expansion army with our god, just to make sure that we took this province, because we really want it. So these crystal sorceresses, they get astral and air, and yeah, we don't have any astral access, so this is really cool. And then possibly, unlikely, but possible that they'll actually be astral too, which is nice. Better mages is always better. You don't have to pay any extra. Same gold, same upkeep. Better mage. So yes, this wasn't too bad. It looks like maybe a little bit more of an interesting battle, somewhat. They're like super archer based. The actual troops from them. They're not great. Again, like archers are not very good. These archers, the lower strength, so they do a little less damage. The Pegasus riders are actually, they're decent. They have like a lance charge, yeah, and they're flying, and they're sacred, so they'll carry your bless. And depending on how good your bless is, our bless is not great. So it doesn't really matter so much for us, but I mean, flying cavalry, they have really good map move. They're not terrible. And they're sacred, so their upkeep is halved. So they cost a decent amount to recruit, but they cost less than you might think to just have them hanging around. So actually kind of a useful soldier to have in your back pocket as well, but mostly the mages. This is one place actually where it's nice that we have archers, because their archer fire is at least somewhat focused on our archers, because otherwise these guys don't do so great against archers. So yeah, but yeah, once they close, then they realize like, oh shit, we should probably kill these axe guys. And but it's too late. The god is in. Yeah, they're retreating. The axe warriors are cleaning guys up. And yep, not too bad. I think we did lose, yeah, a couple guys, but yeah, that's fine. That's a good win. And that was it. So yeah, continuing to recruit mages, but started to switch over to the shamans. The shamans are arguably better. They get different paths. These guys are the only access you get really to death. I think technically these guys can random into it, but it's very unlikely. Only 10%. So yeah, these are the antlered shamans, capital only. These shamans though, yeah, it's still just 25%, well, a little more, because they have another 50% to get one of these randoms. But yeah, So these are more likely to get you access to death, which is super useful. And oops, yeah, these guys do not provide that, but they get access to air and water, which the shamans don't. So you kind of want to mix, you know, because you want to try to get like all the different paths. You know, it's playing Ulm is like a little bit like, you know, loot box city, right? You just keep recruiting mages and like hope that you get a useful one. And they're sort of mixed in terms of how like useful they are. So like this guy, he didn't hit his 50% random, right? So he only has 2 paths. So that kind of sucks, right? Like he's the lamest guy. Like all the rest of these guys are, you know, they're like, hey, we got 3 paths, and yeah, you know, he didn't make it. You know, he didn't study hard enough. But even the guys that get 3 paths, they are like mixed usefulness. It really depends, but generally it's more useful to have you know, additional paths stacked up in like one school of magic, right? So these guys are, you know, kind of more useful than this guy, because he's spread across 3 and he just has 1. Now that said, I mean, cross paths, some spells require cross paths. So this guy can do some stuff that like these guys can't, but by and large, like these guys are gonna be, this is kind of what you're looking for, something like this. So yeah, anyway, switching over to the shamans to try to get, you know, some more, like we're missing water, right? So these guys can get you water. We don't have any of that yet, but I'm not too worried about that. So I got the air guy, the air guys. That's most important to me, because you're gonna need air for alquils, which I'm hoping to make. In fact, if you look at the research, yeah, still working on that enchantment for the regeneration. But then once we get up to construction 2, these guys are going to be able to make alquils, and that's kind of the other, well, one of the other things about Ulm. These warrior smiths, they get a bonus when making items. So like every item that they make is 1 gem less than it would normally cost. So making items is, you know, one of Ulm's things. So being able to get those alquils, which boost research, is going to be really helpful, because yeah, research is critical. If you fall behind in research, you know, you're in trouble. So anyway, we got this province. Hopefully we'll be able to get a fort. Hopefully he won't push us for it. We'll see. I mean, you know, definitely people fight wars over independence like this. So yeah, but if we can get a fort over here and start cranking those out, that would be great. Oh yeah, and then there's only 5 Amazons here, which is crazy town. There was 40 from the report before, and so what I'm guessing happened is some player down here tried to take the province and failed. So like this is a great opportunity to just snake it, you know, sneak in and grab it really cheap. Like, you know, they did all the work. Now that's definitely going to piss them off, whoever they are. But I mean, you know, like we're not here to make friends with all these players. Like everything is really tight. We're going to fight somebody. Like this is a good reason as any to fight somebody. So yeah, probably going to go for this with whatever we can, which is only our god. So this is the map move here. This is Control M will bring up map cost moves, like, you know, so whatever province you're clicked on, it'll tell you like what the cost is to move to this other province. It makes a lot of assumptions. It's not like, because movement is fairly complicated, like moving through different terrains costs different amounts, and like certain units have like certain traits. Like these guys can move through forests and mountains at lower cost than other units, and it doesn't always take that into account. I think if you select it, it will. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's not perfect, but it'll give you at least somewhat of an idea of like how far it is to move to various places. And so yeah, our god has map move 22, which is just enough to get here. But our army map move 14, it's not going to happen. So yeah. And that is turn 5. All right. So yeah, turn 6. We lost a crippled unit. That happens. Any unit that's crippled has a chance of dying during movement, and usually it's just not worth it. You can't. Healing is actually a pretty rare ability in Dominions, and it's usually not worth healing like random troops anyway. You kind of want to save that for, useful mages. Maybe like some of your really elite troops, it's worth healing, but just the regular troops. Dominions is kind of a harsh world. I wouldn't want to live here during these times. So anyway, it happens. Not a big deal. Less upkeep. Look at the bright side for us, not for them. Couple battles. So we had another bump with a different player. So you can definitely see the settings for this game coming in like right away, where it's just it's close quarters. Bumps are normal. They're part of every game, but yeah, this is I don't know. I haven't played a ton of multiplayer, but I was surprised like bumping twice this quickly. But we also fought against. So this is our second expansion group that came out of our capital with these Steel Maidens. They're going after like a slightly tougher province as compared to like kind of what we've been going after before, and they cleaned it up. We don't really even need to watch this. Don't worry. These maidens they'll clean up more stuff. But yeah, they're really good. So this is our second expansion army coming out, which is good. And then we fought a battle in the Mercs, and our god cleaned up what was left. And then I got surprised because I'm pretty sure, don't know 100% if this was the player. I'm assuming this was the player that tried to capture this and failed. So I figured I'd have like at least a turn before they were coming back in, or if they were coming back in, they wouldn't be able to bring too much. But they came right back in, and yeah, this is not nothing. So these are their sacreds, which are, kind of every faction has some sacreds that are, usually they're elite troops. It varies. Like Ulm, for example, their sacreds they're okay. So yeah, these guys are not bad. They got 2 attacks, which is good. Size 3, so their density, it's a little rough because you only squeeze 2 of them into a square. If we bring on team colored squares, so you can only fit 6 size points in a square. You can only fit 2 of these guys in here. But since they have 2 attacks, that helps with that. And they're pretty good attacks. Like their strength is pretty high, 10 being average for most stats. So they deal a lot of damage even with the kick. 15 damage. Their attack skill is good. Their defense skill is good. They have good hit points, like a normal human 10 hit points. So these guys got over double that. They're not bad at all. And I don't know what their bless is. But yeah, they have a priest here, so we're gonna find out. This is their commander, and he's a priest, so he's probably gonna be blessing these guys, and so they're about to get tougher. Not these guys with the spears. Oh wait, yeah, no, they're sacred as well. I did not know that. Cool. So these guys, looks like the only difference is they have a spear instead of a sword, and these guys get a shield. And these guys don't. The shield is going to be really nice for archer fire. These guys, they're going to be pretty susceptible actually to archer fire. Especially since I think normally their protection is really low. They're not wearing a shirt, so that doesn't bode well. Yeah. Protection 1, so they have some natural protection for some reason. I don't know, they're kind of fat, so, maybe that belly. So their bless is shock resistance, fire resistance, bark skin, and Fatewaving. And this is a pretty nasty bless. It's not... there's stronger blesses out there for sure. But yeah, these resistances are going to be really useful. We do have some fire magic, we do have some air magic, so it's going to be tougher to get them with like fireballs and lightning bolts. Bark skin is going to help their protection a lot. So yeah, it buffs up their natural protection up to 10. Or sorry, it gives them 10, so they're up to 11 protection, which is not amazing, but like that's the same as our Steel Maidens, right? So like it's not terrible, it's a heck of a lot better than just relying on your belly. But what's worse for us, better for them, is Fatewaving, which is really good. So what that does, yeah, right here. So yeah, and I think this only applies to melee, I think. Actually, I'm not sure, but yeah. So anybody that's anybody that hits them is gonna suck. So I believe this reduces your skills. So like just your attack and defense skills get lower, and possibly you're more likely to take afflictions. Anyway, melee is going to be kind of nasty with these guys because of this Fatewaving. And they also just have inbuilt awe, and that just prevents low morale units from attacking them, essentially. You have to pass a morale check in order to attack them. So that's not going to be as much of an issue for our guys. Some of our guys anyway. Certainly not for our god. 30 morales. Yeah, really high. But yeah, this is kind of dangerous. Because yeah, that's the other thing. We're not blessed outside of our dominion, right? So we're outside of our dominion, so we don't get our bless. Gods are never blessed outside of their dominion, and they're always blessed inside of their dominion. And that drops our protection from 27, which is pretty good, to 22, which is good, but not so good that it's going to stop these guys completely. And we don't have personal regeneration yet, so there's no regeneration here. All we have is trampling. So yeah, that's kind of scary. You can see, so we took 1 damage there. That's not too bad. Their defense skill is going to help them a lot. I got injured. Looks like he just battle fright. So yeah, so their defense skill is 14. You want a high defense against a trampler. The protection I don't think really helps too much. Yeah, so but we just took 10 there. So yeah, we're really struggling to trample these guys down, and we're not. We're taking some damage. We've gone berserk, which is good. That boosts our protection up to 27 now, which is again much better. But probably would have been like above 30, I think, had we been blessed. And then at that point, it'd be really tough to deal damage. But at 27, it's good. But you can still take damage. I mean, you can see we're already down to 79 hit points. And then our defense, when you're berserk, your defense skill just tanks. So pretty much they're just going to be hitting us, and we're relying completely on our protection, and just killing them, quickly, or somewhat quickly, or like at all. And then yes, we got one guy. You're getting a couple, but so these red numbers that are popping up, those are really bad news. Bleeding. Bleeding is like kind of a death sentence. I don't know what governs bleeding stopping. I think it's just like a random chance, right? Like, so, had we had regeneration, ironically, that would have helped us with bleeding too, but we don't. So yeah, and I think possibly like the weapon type, maybe like slash. I don't really know what governs, giving the bleeding status effect. But we got it, and so that's bad news. We are at least getting some kills. I think we managed to get all the commanders, because they're routing now. Yeah, I think we got all the commanders, so like that's good. So yeah, we more or less won, except we're bleeding, so we might still die. Yep, and that was our god. So that's bad. We killed most of this, expansion force, which is good. We're, more than half of it anyway. But at the price of our god, not a good trade. Especially because our god is designed to help us expand. So this is the phase of the game that this god is useful, basically. I mean, it's always useful, right? It's a, you know, decently high earth caster. But this is the moment that it shines. And I just lost it. So that's really bad. So yeah, I think realistically, I don't think we didn't really actually communicate at all, this player or I. So like no diplomacy, but I just sort of assumed that he was going to attack me. Because, I mean, again, this is an aggressive move, right? Because I saw that he had failed to expand there, and I was trying to take it from him. You know, so nobody appreciates that. And, you know, he just killed my god, right? And he could tell, assuming that, you know, they're a somewhat experienced player, you know that, like, that type of god chassis is for expanding. And you know that, like, okay, that's a huge blow. It's not like I have other tricks up my sleeve other than like what Ulm can do natively. And so yeah, it's kind of a big invitation to attack. So I basically just assumed that, you know, we were in a, you know, life or death struggle. It definitely felt like a life or death struggle. So yeah, things were going well, and yeah, now things not going so well.